Hello, this is Mike and Matt again this is going to be the second video where I'm highlighting the TV guides, the old TV guides that I got, I don't know, a few weeks, I don't know, a few weeks ago.
Is that true? That you got them a few weeks ago?
I did get them a few weeks ago. Well, maybe a month ago. 2 weeks, a month, whatever, you know.
But before we begin, I'm going to show you Everything Archie's.
Oh, Everything Archie's.
They're a big Kirshner hit, which was supposed to go to the Monkees. Sugar.
Oh, it's Everything's Archie.
Oh, it's Everything Archie?
Yes.
By the Archies. And if you look at this guy's face, he looks like he's having a lot of fun.
I think Everything Archie's is a different album. This is Everything's Archie.
Archie. There's Archie on the back.
Speaking of Archie, the first TV guide I'm going to show you features a cast of family. Not All in the Family, but the TV show
Is
you
that,
may...
the blonde from Family Ties?
It is. Meredith Baxter.
Meredith Baxter.
She was the mother on Family Ties. But before that, she was on an ABC dramatic series called Family, which up until recently you were able to watch on Tubi, the free streaming service. However, it looks like for the month of July, Tubi no longer has Family available. They might bring it back because a year ago it was on, and then it was gone for a month, but then they brought it back. So I'm almost done with the next to last season, so I only have one more season to go before watching all of them. But in the meantime, I'll tell you about the movie The Bermuda Depths.
Oh, I have that.
I have a copy of The Bermuda Depths also. That's a really good made-for-TV sci-fi movie that stars Connie Selica as like a mythical sea creature. Connie Selica, who you may remember, was on The Greatest American Hero. She played the girlfriend of William Catt, who played Ralph Hinckley, the teacher, who was given a special super suit which would give him special powers, and then he would fly into walls, and hilarity would ensue. I liked that show. Yeah, it also featured Robert Culp, who you can't lose with Robert Culp. He was always a really good actor. He played annoyed really well. He was Robert Culp was always really good. Anyway, this is The Bermuda Depths. I have that on Blu-ray. I wonder if it's right behind you, and then I can add a bonus. I can add a bonus Blu-ray display of The Bermuda Depths. This has a commentary, by the way.
That's cool.
By Amanda Reyes and Lance Vaughn. They always provide solid commentary tracks. Another movie that was on is The World Beyond. I have a copy of this somewhere. I think this movie, The World Beyond, ended up on the DVD trading circuit that used to be a thing like in the early 2000s.
Why haven't we watched that? That looks great.
It does look great. Condemned to fight a living nightmare, The World Beyond.
Caution, too frightening for people who scare easily.
You heard it. Right there. All right. So this TV guide is from the week of January 21st through 27th, 1978. January 21st through the 27th, 1978. Also featured in this TV guide, as I page through it, is an ad for the Literary Club. This is one of those book clubs that used to exist. Any four bestsellers for $1. when you joined the book club. Oh, I remember this Charlie Brown special called "You're a Good Sport, Charlie Brown." Remember back in the 70s and 80s when they would take Charlie Brown specials and they would turn them into books, and they were basically just like images from the animated special. This one was orange. I remember that. I never had it, but I got it from the library a couple of times. "You're a Good Sport, Charlie Brown." That was on at 8 p.m. This TV guide is from the city of Charlotte, North Carolina. I think all these are going to be from Charlotte, North Carolina. There's listings from Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, all the cities you've come to expect from North Carolina. Let's see.
What were their channels?
Their channels were in Charlotte you had WBTV, CBS, WSOC, NBC.
What channels? I mean, what number?
CBS was channel 3,
Mm-hmm.
WSOC, NBC was channel 9, WCCB, ABC was channel 18,
Interesting.
which would make that a UHF channel.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anything above 13, right?
I think anything above 13 was UHF. So
Ours were 4, 5, 8, 11, and 13.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
21, 27, 33, 39, 50,
yeah.
40.
Up
was it?
until-
It was 40 something.
We had a 49 but that started
It
in
was
like,
Spanish, right?
or was it home shopping?
I don't remember. And then 52 as well.
52 was
Came in
Spanish.
later.
Yeah, I know that in the 70s and early
23.
80s.
I forgot 23. Sorry.
Yeah, in the 70s and early 80s in Dallas, Channel 4 was CBS, 5 was NBC.
8 was ABC.
Yeah,
11 was, what was
Independent.
it before? Well, yeah, 11, 21,
and
20, and everything above that was
Yeah.
independent.
yeah, 13 was
was
PBS.
PBS.
Yeah, yeah.
KERA.
KERA. Let's see, what else do we have here of interest? We've got 50 Years of Country Music, starring Glenn Campbell, Roy Clark, and Dolly Parton. Finger pickin' good.
Finger picking good.
Finger picking good. All right. The next thing.
Saw the gears working again.
Yeah. The next thing. Ooh, could this be another pilot?
Ooh, that looks great.
Annie Flynn. Catch the hilarious complications when a beautiful nurse decides to become a doctor. A woman becoming a doctor?
Nurses make better lovers.
Oh my God! It's Annie Flynn. Annie Flynn, starring. I can't tell by this picture who that is. Let's see. It was on at 8:30. Good thing I have this handy TV guide to tell me about. Annie Flynn, played by Barry Youngfellow. Good luck. Is a former nurse trying to master medical school despite distractions from a fun-loving neighbor and an admiring anatomy professor.
Oh, she was. I want to say she was. Wasn't she on? Yeah, It's a Living.
Oh, she was on It's a Living. That was the 1980 to 81 sitcom about cocktail waitresses
Yeah.
that featured Ann Gillian.
And Jillian?
Ann Gillian
As
was
a
on.
regular?
Yeah, yeah. It's a Living, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was on for like only a
How do I not
season, maybe
remember?
2 seasons.
Oh, she died last year.
Who, Barry Youngfellow?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Well, this was a another pilot. Here's what it says in the. It says this is a pilot for a possible but unscheduled series. The Tony Randall Show moves into this time period next week, so things already weren't looking good for Annie Flynn. Well, you know, that'll happen. Let's see. We've got ACC basketball on WRAL on Saturday. Maryland versus North Carolina. Virginia versus Clemson. So some sport. This is, in one daring leap for freedom, he reached an American ship. That's when the nightmare began. The defection of Seamus Kudirka, starring the
Alan
great
Arkin.
Alan Arkin. the recently passed Alan Arkin, and it also had Donald Pleasance and Richard Jordan and Shirley Knight. So that was a TV movie that was on. I think that was on Monday. Yeah, January 23rd. Let's see if I can find one more interesting thing that happened. Let's see. Oh, there's a 2-hour Barnaby Jones. On this 2-hour episode, did Barnaby Jones help convict an innocent man? Barnaby is haunted by his past as startling new evidence reopens one of his toughest cases. So that was a special 2-hour episode of Barnaby Jones featuring Bradford Dillman and Robert Webber. Robert Webber was in... Never mind. I'm thinking of... Who was the guy who was in The Music Man? Oh! Robert Webber, not Robert Webber. Nah.
Bradford Dillman was in 99 3/4%, whatever
99
it's
and
called.
4/10% dead with Richard Harris.
Yes.
Yes. 99 and 44 out of 100% dead. Why they didn't simplify that fraction, I don't know. They could have simplified it to 44 and 11
Wasn't it
25th.
based on some commercial or some product that's what they're saying was 99 and whatever percent clean or pure or something like
Probably. But then they could have simplified the fraction.
that? They didn't want
11 out of 44.
They
you
figured
can,
it would stick in your head, and obviously
Yeah.
it didn't.
And here we are, these many years later,
Trying to
talking
remember
about
the
it.
name of the
Right.
film.
I think it's 99 and 44 out of 100.
That's right, 44
dead.
hundredths.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that TV guide. Let's move on to another one. This one looks interesting. Oh, this has the Love Boat on the cover, plus an article called "Science on TV Could Be Exciting." Let me unwrap this.
While he's unwrapping, speaking of television, here is a book with 5 stories from the Night Gallery. This is Night Gallery 2. And the stories are Collector's Items, The Messiah on Mott Street, The Different Ones, Lindemann's Catch, and Suggestion. The one I remember is Messiah on Mott Street, which starred Edward G. Robinson and... Who was the guy?
Burt Reynolds.
No, I think he was on In the Heat of the Night in the later seasons, maybe, and he was also Yaphet Kotto.
Oh, okay. From Alien.
From Alien, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yaphet Kotto.
Yaphet Kotto. All right. So this issue, with the Love Boat, a caricature of the Love Boat cast on the cover, is from February 4th through the 10th, 1978. So let's see. This should be a good one. We've got. Speaking of Burt Reynolds, on February 7th at 9 p.m., you could have watched the Burt Reynolds movie Hustle, which featured Catherine Deneuve and the great Eddie Albert and Ernest Borgnine. Now that's what I call a cast.
Mm-hmm.
Hustle, featuring Burt Reynolds, Catherine Deneuve, Ernest Borgnine, and
Green Acres.
Eddie Albert,
Place to
the
be.
great Eddie Albert, yes. Speaking of Eddie Albert, 1978 was the year that his series Switch ended. That's the show that he was on with Robert Wagner and Sharon Gless. Sharon Gless, of course, would go on to be Cagney on Cagney and Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
And she also is the star of a show called The Trials of Rosie O'Neill, which I've currently started watching on Tubi. It's a good lawyer show. Some interesting guest stars on there. Ed Asner is in the second season. I think he's on a few episodes in the first season. And then there's also Robert Wagner does like a 3 or 4 episode arc. And then Tyne Daly, Lacey, shows up on an episode. So,
Shall we watch the trailer?
no.
Okay.
You can watch the show on. I don't want to have any copyright violations.
Oh,
or
you
anything.
have it. You have it.
Yeah. You can watch that on Tubi. Let me. Okay. Oh, here's something else good. On February the 7th, you could watch the combination of Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes, and then after that, you could watch Shields and Yarnell. Shields and Yarnell was a variety show that featured the married couple of Mr. Shields and Yarnell.
Mrs. Yarnell.
I think that's right.
Shanana, Shanana.
I should know this. I feel like I'm disappointing people. They were mimes. They were mimes. And
Not
they,
unlike Marcel Marceau.
not unlike at all Marcel Marceau, who was a famous mime. So they had a variety show in the late 70s where they would, have special guests, probably like, Jim Nabors and Roy Rogers and Eddie Albert might have been on that show, So, this one, there's not much about it. Highlights include a dance routine paying tribute to Charlie Chaplin and a Western skit about a tough hombre named the Klinko Kid. Also at that time, same time slot, was Sha Na Na, an episode of Sha Na Na with Bobby V. Sha Na Na was a band that was around in the late 60s and in the 70s. It was a band that basically they dressed like greasers from the 50s, and their songs were all like songs from the 50s. I don't know, they probably had some original songs that sounded like they were from the 50s, but I think most of their music was
Cover tune.
cover tunes from the 50s. But their show was very popular. I think it lasted for like 5 or 6 years. Their main guy was Bowser, John Bowser Bauman. He did this thing, the muscle thing. Frequent panelist on Match Game, and John Bauman was also the feature host of the Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour, which only lasted for a year, but it was a combination of both shows.
Oh wow.
It was an hour. By the title, you probably figured that out. The first half of the show, they would play Match Game with 6 celebrities, one of them being John Bowser Bauman, and then Gene Rayburn, the namesake of the Great Tollway here in Dallas, would host. And then for the second half of the show, Gene Rayburn would be one of the Hollywood Squares panelists, and they'd introduce 2 more celebrities because he had to have 9 celebrities for Hollywood Squares. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. It's an ad for a cable company. Cablevision Connection. There's a little thing you can mail in here. Yes, I want to enjoy Cablevision's exciting entertainment for everyone. Call me with a priority connection appointment for a special $3 connection charge. So that's early cable TV in 1978. I would like to see some footage of that, if possible. I'm trying to look for ads for things that are kind of unique. I mean, I'm finding ads for like Mary Tyler Moore Show, My 3 Sons, but that's not really unique. They're just syndicated and they're still pretty much on now. I have seen footage of the ABC Silver Anniversary Special, which was on, what night was this? This was February 5th, 1978. It was probably 3 hours. No, it was 4 hours. Ooh, 7 to 11. It was on a Sunday night. So, yeah, it was on from like Central Time Zone 6 to 10, and then 7 to 11 Eastern Time. Featuring all the people listed here. There's a lot. Ed Asner, George Sanford Brown, Captain and Tennille, Dick Clark, John Denver, Barbara Eden, lots and lots of celebrities from current and past ABC shows. Jacqueline Smith, Penny Marshall, Jim McKay, Christy McNichol, Clayton Moore. Yeah, I could, if we were to play a game of name one thing these celebrities were on, I could probably do one for everyone. Although I don't know who Jack Kelly is. I don't know. Do you know who Jack Kelly is?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next TV guide. This one I think was probably from Charlotte. I'm thinking all these are from Charlotte, North Carolina, which is fine. I like getting.
Well, how different would one region have been from another, or one state have been from another in broadcasting terms?
Well, obviously, you'd get the listing for your local market.
I know, but would it be
or the articles
the same shows or
different shows?
Completely different lineup.
Well, no. Primetime network. The primetime stuff would be the same, unless for some reason your affiliate preempted a show. Sometimes it happens sometimes, but
so
not very
would
often.
UHF channels be completely different across the nation?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, each market had their own. The only thing that was consistent, that was the same across the country, were the networks. Like
all day long, or just primetime?
Primetime was pretty much all the same. During the day, the affiliates.
Soap operas, maybe.
Well, the affiliates had they could choose what they wanted to show. Like for example, in Dallas, our NBC station, Channel 5, didn't have Super Password for like the first three or four years it was on. However, you could watch Super Password on, I think it was Channel 21. For some reason, that was an independent channel. For some reason, they picked. Another example is David Letterman had a daytime show for like 6 months in 1980. That was not carried in Dallas on NBC by Channel 5, but it was on in different parts of the country. So yeah, daytime lineups varied across the country, but the prime time and the late night lineups were pretty much the same no matter what city you went to. Yeah. Some of the late night stuff might vary. Like I remember in the 70s and 80s, in between the news and the CBS late movie, Channel 4 would run an episode of All in the Family. And then on Channel 5, in between The Tonight Show and Letterman, they would have The Love Connection. Where in most cities it would go right from Carson to Letterman. I don't know why. Well, Channel 5 probably got good ratings for The Love Connection. So that ran for forever. Yeah, in between those shows.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Yep. All right, this will be the last one for this.
What's it all about?
For this video. And you know what? When I think about it, The Love Connection was not a terrible show. It was pretty restrained, and it wasn't like if they redid The Love Connection now, they would just try to be over the top.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't be very good, And it wasn't on Love Connection wouldn't try to be insulting towards anybody. Like if the date didn't go well, it's like, well, we'll, if you want to go on another date with someone else, we'll pay for it. So.
No, you know what? I want to watch that again. I used to always change the channel when it came on, but now I want to.
I would watch it sometimes because it wasn't terrible. Woolery was a good host.
Yeah.
He did a good job of talking to the people. Yeah. Speaking of that, here's Jonathan Winters with Pumpkinhead. This issue, her name is covered by the mailing label.
Just take a hair dryer to
I
it.
think she was on a show called We've Got Each Other, which was on for one season in 1977. It was a sitcom We've Got Each Other. I think Oliver. Oh, there's a guy. Oliver. He was a character actor at the time. Not Oliver Reed, because that'd be a completely different show.
Speaking of Oliver Reed,
Yes.
read all about him in his new book, Read All About Me.
I'd
This
like
was
to read
actually
that.
ghost written, but it's okay because it's still entertaining.
Thank you. I'd like to read that sometime. Okay, here's an article about Beverly Archer. Oliver Clark is the guy. They were on this sitcom called We've Got Each Other. There's an article about.
Does it say about Woody Allen there?
She's part Woody Allen, part olive oil. It's a winning combination for Beverly Archer, the funny if plain star of We've Got Each Other. That's back when people would call people plain and whatever. And that brings me to a 2-page ad for Heroes, a movie that came out in 1977 starring Henry Winkler, Sally Field, and
Is that what? I can't read it. And
Harrison Ford.
ah,
I think he's third billed in this movie. This came out right before Star Wars, or maybe after, but it was released the same year. A nice 2-page ad. This opened November 4th, 1977. And if I ever want to see that movie, I've got it right here on Blu-ray. There's no special features, but it's probably in really nice condition, a good picture. So,
courtesy of Mill Creek. right?
yes, no, is it Mill Creek?
I think so. Is that not the Mill Creek? Yeah, Mill Creek.
Oh, okay. Is that good or bad?
It used to be bad, but I think they've upped their game. Yeah, widescreen. You should be fine. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry, Mike.
Cool. I'm not gonna worry. What do you think? Okay.
Sorry.
Here's an ad for James at 15. Remember that TV show, James at 15?
Yes, wasn't it just like Star Wars?
It was, but
Speaking of Star Wars,
that shirt is in Italian?
Spanish.
Spanish? Yes, it is. So James at 15. Star Wars was just like James at 15, except Star Wars didn't have a guy named James who was 15. But it did have James Earl Jones, but he was not 15 when he did the voice of Darth Vader. This episode of new series James at 15, The Girl with the Bad Rep. So that's going to be on. Lance Kerwin, I believe, played James, and good thing I'm on this page because we find out that tonight's episode of Barnaby Jones, a fortune in jewels is stolen, and a security guard is murdered by a cold-blooded burglar who uses high-class call girls to divert the attention of his victims. That sounds like a good episode. Featuring Chris Robinson, Marilyn Mason, and Morgan Fairchild. Morgan Fairchild from Dallas or somewhere in Texas. Star of the movie The Seduction and other stuff. Alright, so there's some movies, another Mary Tyler Moore Show ad.
What's that? A cop crack? Oh, it's Kojak.
Oh, but it is the CBS Late Movie, a thing that my mom used to watch when I was a kid. The CBS Late Movie featured reruns of shows like Kojak and Columbo and Quincy, McMillan and Wife, Banachek. They would even rerun episodes of The Jeffersons and MASH, Hawaii Five-0, and then they would show like a shortened version of a movie. The CBS Late Movie is worthy of its own podcast. I'm hoping that one day someone will have a CBS Late Movie podcast where they go through. You can find the schedule on epguides.com, episodeguides.com. You can see like what was on the CBS Late Movie every night the whole time that it ran, from like 1972 to 89.
So were the movies that they showed back then for the CBS Late Movie, were those made for the slot, or did they just take other properties and show them in that time?
They just
or
took
both?
No, there was nothing that was made specifically for the CBS late movie, except for the final season of T.J. Hooker, which was made for the CBS late movie because I think it must have gotten canceled by ABC, but CBS picked it up and aired it on the CBS late movie. Why they didn't have it in prime time, I don't know, but that was a thing. But the movies that were on the CBS late movie, it was a real mix, you know, like, but a lot of the obscure genre movies that you and I like Patrick, Beyond the Door, those would be on the CBS late movie.
Very cool.
Yeah, and you can, like I said, there's that whole list on epguides.com. So that would be a subject of a good subject of a podcast, I think, at some point. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and conclude with that, and if you wanted to subscribe to Playboy, there's a thing in there where you could do that. And if you wanted to watch Pop Goes the Country, that's on October 29th on Channel 3.
What was
And
the Grinch Halloween thing?
Halloween is Grinch Night. Is that the name of the show?
The Grinch.
Dr. Seuss. For details, see Close Up on A18. That's the next page. So the name of this show was Halloween is Grinch Night. This apparently was an animated special featuring Dr. Seuss as the Grinch.
Boris Karloff, probably not. No, that would have been produced much later.
Hans Conried was the narrator and the voice of the Grinch.
Okay.
Henry Gibson, who was on Laugh-In, provided the voice of a character called Max. So the Grinch apparently infiltrated Halloween as well as Christmas. Well, we're all learning something, so that's good. All right, well, that's going to conclude this TV Guide Discovery episode. Bye.
See ya.